those discussions were full, frank, and fruitful. To the extent that we agreed on 3 particular points, and I want to stay true to those to those agreements, to read it for you. We agreed, 1, that the parties would restart the process of negotiations with the objective of arriving at an expeditious conclusion of the proposed arrangement for a transition of customs to the Barbados Revenue Authority. 2, the parties agreed that such negotiations will restart in earnest on Wednesday, August 5th at 10:30 to clarify 10 o'clock, to clarify all outstanding issues as they pertain to the security of the workers who may opt to transition into the Barbados Revenue Authority. And 3, the parties agree that as an act of good faith and in keeping with good industrial relations practice, that the current option forms issued would be rescinded and that normal operations within the customs would be restored immediately. As you would imagine, there's a lot of water that has crossed under the bridge. It has never been the intention of government to disaffect or cause any disadvantage to workers. In fact, our express position has been in all these transition exercises to ensure as much as is humanly possible that we ensure that the rights of the workers are maintained and restored, even as they opt to transition. And for those who may opt not to transition, that they also continue to be dealt with as they ought to be, both on the law and in relation to what we would consider to be good practice. And so if anything would have transpired to have given the impression or to have created the state of mind among the workers that such was not the case, I want to say publicly that that was not the intention of the government, for sure. We know that we are operating under fairly stringent circumstances in Barbados. There are some operational things which we have to do to ensure increased productivity and efficiency in the public service, and also to reduce the overall costs to government in terms of the administration of public affairs. And to the extent that that is true, we don't have an extended timetable within which to operate. We have to move with some degree of haste. But in doing so, haste does not mean and should not mean that we cast aside the rights of any particular worker within our employ, whether that is a appointed officer in the service or a temporary worker, as the case may be. So in reset of that particular agenda, we have agreed as parties that we will work to get through these issues. I don't believe that there is such a large chasm between us. I think that a number of the issues, through the discussions that we've had over the number of months and weeks and months that we've been doing this, have actually been generally resolved. But there are one or two juggernaut issues that need to be addressed. You would have heard it in relation to appointments, issues in relation to securing all of the pension rights of persons, issues pertaining to supersession that have been raised by the union that have been addressed by the chief personnel officer. These are issues that are critical. And as I've always said, we don't want people to go into the BRA in a disgruntled form to disrupt, so to speak, the operations of the BRA. That would not be in the best interest of the organization. So we want to ensure that everybody is as comfortable as humanly possible, knowing that we can't get total and ideal comfort for everything, but that generally, in terms of a mass of issues to be dealt with, that those can be resolved. But we have to set ourselves some specific timelines within which this can be done. That having been said, I want to take the opportunity to apologize to the public for any, both the domestic public, citizens of Barbados, but also visitors to the country, whether it is returning nationals or visitors from abroad coming as tourists for any inconvenience which they may have experienced on our various ports of entry. I want as well to take the opportunity to say to our business community that we recognize that you would have had some challenges in the last weeks, and that the parties have agreed that where those may exist for whatever reason, operationally or otherwise, where there may have been, if there be shortages of staff, that we would seek to address that issue. If there are issues where there may have been a withdrawal of service, even though that has not been officially said, that those issues would be addressed. But as parties, we would ensure that what normally takes place continues and that the status quo will remain until such time as we can resolve these issues that we have between us.